Good afternoon and welcome to the Knox County Zoning meeting for Monday, April 20th at 5 p.m. Madam Clerk, if you will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did.
We have 11 members present.
Thank you. And I will now turn it over to Commissioner Frazier for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand if you are able with a proper salute to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. The amendments to the agenda are no additions, no withdrawals. Defer to May is number 4 and number 8. And number 7 will be attended via Zoom. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I got a motion by Commissioner Thompson and a second by Commissioner Durrett. Voting is open.
I forgot.
Did you say it was going to be by Zoom? I thought it was pulled off.
7.
Oh, 7.
Yeah. All right, you may change your vote. That's deferred and that's moved to Zoom.
Okay.
All right, and lock in your vote. And that passed 11-0. Thank you. Just to make sure, because I want to make sure everybody heard, defer to May is number 4, number 8, and then number 7 is going to be via Zoom. Okay?
Yep.
Did I say that? I was thinking it in my head for sure. So.
Don't forget to swear people in.
Yep. Approval of minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Got a motion by Commissioner Jay, second by Commissioner Durrett. Open voting, please. You may change your vote. And voting is closed. And that passed 11-0. And we are now going to move to swearing in. I will turn it over to Director Moyers.
All right, if you're here to speak to this body on any item on the agenda, either for or against, please stand and raise your right hand. All right, do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Be seated, please.
Thank you. All right. And Madam Clerk, if you will read the first item, please.
Our first item would be public forum for agenda items only.
And we don't have anybody signed up.
Okay. Our first rezoning request is 12D25RZ, request of Kayla Gorley for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential, property located at 7120 Ball Camp Pike, parcel ID 092048 in the 3rd Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? All right. If it is okay with commissioners, I'd like to move that to the end of the agenda. Next item, please.
Item number 2 is request of Benjamin C. Mullins for rezoning from OB Office Medical and Related Services to PC Planned Commercial, property located at 0 Fox Road, parcel ID 131158159 in the 5th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Hello.
Hello, Ben Mullins, 550 West Main Street, here for the applicant.
Thank you. I don't have anyone signed up for opposition. No one's in the audience. So Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the PC Plan Commercial Zone with the following conditions. 1, a Type C landscape buffer be required around the south and eastern sides of the property, and Type A landscape buffer along the north side of the property to visually screen any proposed uses from neighboring residential development. And 2, the following permissible uses shall also be recorded as restrictive covenants with the Register of Deeds prior to submitting a development plan. Signs as permitted by Section 3.9, watercraft and boat sales, recreation equipment, retail sales, general water sports retail sales, service center for watercrafts and boats, outdoor storage of watercrafts and boats with proper fencing and screening, farm equipment, retail sales, and allowable accessory uses to the principal use.
Thank you. Mr. Mullins, would you like to talk about your project?
Yes, I sent an email out to everybody last week, kind of laying out the project. This is currently zoned OB, which has a host of uses. Some of them I think would be good for that area. I think some of them might be a little intense for that area. The advanced Knox place type was the BP Business Park. And if the UDO were to move forward as proposed, the zoning anticipated for this would be the BC, Business Commercial Zoning, which would actually allow the use that we are intending to move forward on this property. Just we don't have time to see that process out and need to move forward a little more quickly, which is why we're proposing the planned commercial zone, which is partially related to the place type, and the BC place type lists secondary uses as commercial, which is one of the criteria for rezoning for a partially related place type. I always say that for Commissioner Frazier because she always asks that question, so I want to get ahead of you on that one. PC, is, I think, would be a better zone. It allows for, it requires the restrictive covenants, which Director Brooks read in, which we've kind of limited to kind of the use that we intend, or similar uses, kind of a boat dealership type business, which is in synergy with the Fox Road Marina, where his business is currently located. He wants to move it away from that for the dealership aspect of it, and there's already a lot of boat traffic through there anyway. I live in the area and travel this road often. I think we've been talking, Commissioner Russell has helped us engage with the neighbors. There has been some opposition to this and some concerns, and I think she has some conditions that she would like to impose on this in addition, and we're fine with those conditions if she wants to impose them. I did talk to Director Snowden. One of the concerns is there's no plans to widen Fox Road anytime. If they were to widen Fox Road, they would need an additional 10 feet of right-of-way, 5 feet on either side of the center. And so I think there is some concerns about us building or putting any structures or landscaping or parking within that 5 feet. So that was something that just came up today, discussing that as a potential condition about not allowing anything within 5 feet of the right-of-way. We're fine with that. Our concern is with the zoning condition for the type C landscaping buffer along the frontage. We already have a 50-foot peripheral setback for the building in the planned commercial zone. There is a stream buffer in the back that further constricts that. We really haven't had time to put pen to paper as to how that may affect our overall design plan that we need to move forward with. So if that condition were to be imposed, what I would ask, I've talked to Commissioner Russell about this, and I've had a chance to briefly talk to Director Snowden, is that we take off the condition for the type C landscaping buffer and just let that be addressed at the development plan phase to see what kind of landscaping we can do once we've had a chance to really design this. But it would then still open up that 5 feet for future development. And then we can look at our access, look at our setbacks, look at what kind of parking we need, and then figure out what kind of landscaping would make sense. And again, going to a planned zone, it gives that opportunity for that to come back through Planning Commission. The neighbors that Commissioner Russell have been talking to can still be engaged in that process and make sure they are okay with it. So with all of that said, I'd ask that you approve this, and I'm sure we can talk about getting the wording and language of the conditions that Commissioner Russell would like to impose. Correct.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from commissioners? All right, seeing none, I'll turn this over to Commissioner Russell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Mr. Mullins said, this has been a very, we've worked on this a lot. I've had a lot of communication with him, with the residents, and I honestly think that this use and this particular development is what's best for the gentleman who's wanting to do the development, the people who live around there, and for Knox County in general. So I'm going to recommend this with all of the conditions that are currently listed, plus 3 additional conditions. The first one is no stacking of boats or vehicles for storage purposes on the exterior. The second one is a limit of 2 monument or building-mounted signs with a limitation of indirect lighting rather than direct lighting of those. The third one is in regards to the 5-foot setback. I want to make sure that we word this properly. So, Director Snowden, could you give us some insight?
Yeah, and sorry, when we looked at this earlier, I don't know if I didn't realize it was PC, so I went and looked at it. And with the 50-foot building setback from the right-of-way, I'm not concerned with any, if we did have to do an acquisition, it wouldn't be compensable to the remainder of the structure. So I'm comfortable with just saying that something along the lines of an additional 5-foot, I guess, let's see, an additional 5 feet. What would be the best way?
Would it be maybe that the 5-foot adjacent to the current right-of-way not be developed in any way or utilized in any way?
Yeah, that something like no improvements of the development to be installed within 5 feet of the property line or something like that. That way.
Other than access, we still have to.
Yeah,
have
other
our
than access, yeah, sorry, just to make sure that no, parking lot or any kind of something that should we need to go in and do a road project in the future, we wouldn't have to, supplement that and/or cost the county taxpayer. So as long as there's no minus access, any private property improvements within 5 feet of the existing right-of-way, I think would be appropriate.
And so even if we still maintained the landscaping buffer, that's not considered quote-unquote would that be considered quote-unquote an improvement, or would it not?
I would consider it an improvement because if we were, for us, if we were to go in and acquire this property for a roadway expansion, if they had vegetation in that area, we would be responsible for replacement of that. So it would need to be something that, from an appraisal perspective, we wouldn't be responsible for the acquisition of those type features.
How would you suggest that we handle and I do apologize to my fellow commissioners, we have truly been working on this for an entire month. This is just something that some additional information had come up on, and I hate that we're kind of working on it at the moment, but how would you suggest handling the landscape buffer then, as far as the wording?
And I think what Ben's getting at is they may not know that they might, what I interpret Ben to say, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, is they don't know exactly if they can push that building back slightly or have some flexibility that would then allow us to have that little extra area in the front to install the landscape. I think that's what Ben is saying, is they haven't done a really detailed engineering analysis to determine if that building can be slightly adjusted to accommodate this 5 feet.
That's right, and so that's the reason if we're going to give up the 5 feet, I would like to take off the condition on the Type C landscaping buffer and just say that landscaping along the frontage of Fox Road will be addressed at the development plan phase. That way we can put pen to paper and figure out what we can do, and planning staff and Knox County Engineering can look at what landscaping would be appropriate once we've adjusted that for that 5 feet.
Okay, yes. Okay. So number 3 will be an additional 5 foot from the right-of-way that will not be utilized in the development in any way or improved in any way. And I guess number 4 will need to be the front landscape buffer will be determined during the site planning stage with zoning.
That would work, yes. Jim, you have any problem with that language? Amy?
Well, you've already got the, okay, yeah, I was gonna say that might be doubling up, but yeah, yeah, no, that's fine, yeah. Okay, did you guys get that? Okay, so you may have to give it to them one more time, because they're trying to get.
Kind of confused about her. She's
Okay.
not going by NPC's recommendation.
She is, but she was adding the additional, right, that's what I was saying. So what we're seeing, Commissioner Russell, is they've got the landscape buffer,
The first condition.
that's
Yeah.
the first condition.
So my motion is to approve it with the conditions as listed, except for the following 4 changes.
Okay,
Number 1, an additional condition of no stacking of boats or vehicles for external storage. Number 2, limit of 2 monument or building-mounted signs with only indirect lighting. Number 3, an additional 5-foot setback from the roadway that is not to be disturbed as part of the site plan. And number 4, the landscaping buffer on that frontage to be determined during the site plan phase with the zoning commission. Yeah.
yeah, because we got north in here already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's in there, but I said with the following changes
Right.
or adjustments.
And just a point of clarification, indirect lighting, you mean no internal illumination? You can have lights shining towards the sign, just not shining outward. is
Yeah,
what we mean
and,
by
and
that. Yeah.
actually, Director Snowden was the one that gave me the definition of what indirect and direct lighting was.
Say no more.
It'll be in the minutes. Right. I'm gonna approve it as is with the additional 4
Okay.
conditions.
okay, all right, perfect. Okay, so I have got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Oh, no, I've got people, wait.
Do I-
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Russell, second by Commissioner Lee. Now we have some discussion. Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Brooks, will you please discuss what staff recommendation was? I know that staff recommended to deny this. Can you discuss kind of what your staff's opinion was on this and whether some of these changes that have been made address some of your concerns?
Certainly, Commissioner. Yes, the planning staff did recommend that the planning commission deny the planned commercial zone because it would be an encroachment of a commercial zone into a residential area and was not supported by changing conditions. I will say, though, that the action that the planning commission took with the additional conditions of approval, as well as what's been discussed this evening, would address concerns that staff had. Staff did outline a couple of those concerns in the body of the report, specific to landscaping and lighting.
Commissioner DeRipp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this motion, would it be cleaner if, where it says in the condition from Planning Commission, if we say on Part 1, a Type C landscape buffer be required around the south and eastern signs, and then add your addition to it rather than having it, these 1, 2, 3 conditions plus your 4 more, like, you know, it's stated here and then it's brought back again at the end. So maybe amend it to include that your 4th, and I don't remember how you worded it, come back when it's at Planning Commission for the design phase. Just, you could say a landscape buffer along the north side, or Type C landscape buffer
Along all sides
et cetera,
except for
et
the
cetera,
road
and then-
frontage.
at the design phase of
Yeah.
whatever. So that way it's not listed, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 5 in the middle, and then come back to it again. Just
That-
cleaner, a little bit cleaner language.
That
Just
is,
a
as,
thought.
as long as it accomplishes the goal, how we word it is, I'm very agreeable.
And I think it's great. I was just worried that it would get, like, on first glance, you just see that part, and then it's the very last thing mentioned with the amendment. So I thought, just making sure they're all the same topics together would be a little bit cleaner.
Is that going to, is that easy for the the clerk?
So she's gonna kind of put that all together at the top. You got that? Okay, perfect. All right, and they're gonna go off the meeting minutes, so they'll be able to hear it all. Okay, good deal. So we've got a motion by Commissioner Russell and a second by Commissioner Lee. No more discussion. If you will open up voting, please. And you may change your vote. And voting is closed. And that passed 10 yeses, 1 no by Commissioner Thompson. Best of luck with your project, Mr. Mullins,
Thank you all very much.
and thank you. All right, next item, please.
Item number 3C 26RZ is a request of Andrew Jones for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential, property located at 1117 Granville Connor Road, parcel ID 056FE003 in the 7th Commission District.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? Hello?
Hello,
If you'll give your name and county of residence, please.
Andrew Jones, Knox County.
Perfect. And we didn't have anybody signed up in opposition. No one's here. So Director Brooks.
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development.
Thank you. All right. Would you like to speak to your project, Mr. Jones?
Yes, so I live next door, my wife and I, and my little girl, we live at 1121, and we have that lot next door, and so what we would like to do is I'd like to put in a couple brand-new mobile homes and rent them out to family member, friends. I'm a member of the Temple Baptist Church, and at the Crown College, we have graduate students, young couples that could rent those, and so that's kind of the purpose of it.
Okay, perfect. Do we have any questions or discussions? All right, seeing none, I will turn this over to Commissioner Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Snowden, is this something that, I guess, you see any issue with it, the mobile homes?
No, ma'am. I was looking at zoning ordinance, the RA allows that by right for that use. And obviously, the road is relatively narrow, but I mean, the type of, the number that this gentleman would be putting on there, I don't think would create a real big impact just due to the small number of homes that he was looking to put on it. So I don't have a concern with that.
Are those going to be on septic tank or sewer?
It's on sewer,
Sewer, okay.
and they would be smaller, probably 2-bedroom, 1 bath, or 2-bedroom, 2 baths, so.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the RA low-density residential zone because it is consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. Do we have a second? I've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lee and a second by Commissioner Jackson. We do have a question from Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, looking at the map, would you be using that driveway that is already in existence coming off of Granville?
So I've actually moved the driveway over that was currently there, and I moved it to the edge of the property, and so it's moved a little bit, but it's not in the middle. It's kind of to the edge that kind of gives us room over here. So then I kind of have a drawing. It's, but it's
That's okay,
Kinda
but that's the
basic, but-
access you would use, so the single access that exists off of Granville. you
Oh,
would
as
be
far
able-
as the road?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
So it would be just a single driveway, just right off Granville, which it is, kind of a,
it is off. So it would be off of Granville, not
Yes.
off of the existing. It looks like there's a driveway where you could have
well,
driveways
so.
coming off of it.
Well, I'm not sure what that is, but my property is next door, and so we actually kind of use both driveways to kind of go to my house and also on that property as well. So it's almost kind of like but there's just a Granville Connor, and then you have driveway for 1117 and then driveway for 1121.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All right, so let's go back. We've got a motion by Commissioner Lee.
Oh, Commissioner,
Yes,
Madam Chair, if I could ask a question, are you talking about where the gravel is? You're in the house that has the iron fence, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the gravel where that road is that going to be the access road
Yes, ma'am.
where you've laid the
Yes.
gravel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
and thank you for providing some housing. That's probably needed right there for
Yes.
sure.
Yes, we do.
All right, we will open up voting now. And you may change your votes. And voting is closed. Congratulations, Mr. Jones. That passed 11-0. Best of luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 4 was deferred, so item number 5, 3A 26RZ, request of 1222 Development LLC for rezoning from A agricultural to CR rural commercial, property located at 8005 Millertown Pike, parcel ID 051016, partial in the 8th Commission District.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Good to see you all this evening. I'm here actually to ask for a deferral. Commissioner Thompson and I have been discussing the rezoning of this property. When we originally rezoned the rest of the property for our residential project, the planning office said that this needed to be some form of commercial because of the future land use plan. We don't have any plans for it at present, but in order to ensure protecting the business that's next door that's been in the community for decades, we want to put some conditions on the rezoning to be able to limit what is put there in the future. And so we haven't had time really. Mr. Mullins was out of town last week and the owner's out of town, or one of the owners out of town. So we'd like to take a month and make sure to get that right and then come back and get our zoning.
Well, then I will turn that over to Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we have had a good conversation so far, and so if there's no objections, I'd like to postpone this to next month.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor for deferral until May. Do I have a second? Got a second by Commissioner Fox, and the voting is open.
Maybe. Takes a minute.
You may change your vote, and the voting is closed. So we will see you back next month.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much for your time.
Have a good evening. And I'm sorry, that passed 11-0. Next item, please.
Item number 6, 2I 26RZ, request of Trent Collins for rezoning from A agricultural to CA general business, property located at 115 West Hendron Chapel Road, parcel ID 138049, partial in 9th Commission District.
Thank you. Hello, if you'll give your name and county residence, please.
Good evening. My name's Trent Collins, and I'm a Knox County resident.
All right, and we didn't have anyone signed up, and I don't see anyone. Oh, okay, we do have people. All right. Director Brooks?
Yes. Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the CA General Business Zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan.
All right, would you like to speak to your project? You have 5 minutes.
We spoke a little bit about it last time I was here. I've been working with some of the community. I had a chance to speak at the South Doyle Community Meeting and share the project vision with them. I've since had a chance to continue to work with Bob Thompson, who's been the most interested in the project since the beginning. So It's my understanding that we're kind of coming to a consensus on the project, so I guess I should let him speak first, honestly.
Okay. Would you like to just share really quick again what your project is, just to remind everybody?
So the project is for pad sites for not overnight RV park, but a short-term living situation RV park.
Okay. I was also traveling nurses you talked about last
Yeah,
month.
traveling nurses,
Okay.
paramedics do it these days. Sometimes those contracts are up to a year, but people building a house in the community or just seeing if they want to live here in
Yeah.
South Knox County.
Okay. I just wanted to
Yeah.
refresh my
Just a
memory.
clean upscale project, basically.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, we will let Mr. Thompson speak. Did they sign up? No. You didn't used to have to sign up. Okay. Hello, so I need to get your names and county of residence, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak to us.
Before we begin, Madam Chair, we will try to keep it within 5 minutes, but could we have 2 extra minutes just in case, Commissioners?
Can you put the mic just a little bit, there we go. It's hard to hear up here, I apologize.
We will try to keep it within 5 minutes, but could we have an extra 2 just in case? We'll try to be brief.
I can give you an extra minute.
1 extra minute, thank you. Bob Thompson, Knox County. With me, I've left a reference page with you, which I'm not asking you to read along. That's really for any reference, any item that we bring up that you'd like to check out. Last month, we did defer this. We appreciate Mr. Collins and Ms. Billings coming to the South Joe meeting. It did not really resolve things. After that, our neighborhood got together, and there are still a lot of concerns about this. My neighbor Cheryl Nelson is here with me, and some of our other neighbors are there in our seats. There are others who could not come tonight, but we'll try to speak for them. And so here's Cheryl.
Thank you. Cheryl Nelson, Knox County. So I live about a third of a mile from this track. We're concerned that the proposed rezoning, whether RV or any other commercial use, is really inconsistent with the character of our neighborhood and would have adverse effects. This tract is surrounded by 3 sides, an area which low-density, single-family housing in the rural in character, primarily zoned ag. There are many multi-acre ag lots close by. This rural character is why my family relocated from West Knoxville to South Knoxville, as many of my neighbors also chose this rural area. This commercial development would be inconsistent with the character. This is not a small change. This would be a fundamental shift. It would create sort of a commercial peninsula, which would have adverse effects on our area. It has a lot of frontage on Hendron Chapel. It has a hillside rising from Hendron Chapel toward Chapman Highway, so it's very visible even from the properties down the road, including Tipton Station. Due to the hillside, even a fence screening would only partially reduce its impact surrounding the residential and ag properties. This stretch of Hendron Chapel is classified as a major collector road. I'm aware of that. It provides an area access to the traffic signal intersection at Chapman Highway. It carries traffic not just from the immediate neighborhood, but from miles along Tipton Station, which is also a major collector, and its roadsides. This adds high visibility track to this area. Specifically to this RV park, our concern is the access and traffic safety for the passage of large RVs is one issue. From Chapman Highway, there's sharp curves. Although Hendron's Chapel is a major collector, the pavement is only 22 feet wide, and there are more sharp curves from Hendron's Chapel onto that property. Before you vote, we ask that you call on Mr. Collins and the county engineering to address the access by large RVs, including the possibility of creating access to the track directly from Chapman Highway, zoning the property CA use based on the proximity to the highway, but not allowing any access onto the highway seems unusual and contradictory. Thanks, Bob.
Did we get our 6 minutes? Boy, that time went fast. So I'll point out there's 3 other RV parks in South Knox County, one in the city. And one thing they all have in common is they're out of the way, they're tucked away, they're not visible from the road, whereas this one will be highly visible from the road. And that's one of our main concerns. In your handout, there's a photo of the South Lake, RV at the South Lake property, which Mr. Collins had referred to last month. And I'm not judging that, my backyard looks like that sometimes, but that is not visible from the road. From the road, all you can see is the driveway leading to the property. Then there are also zoning issues. We discussed last time, the current code allows mobile home transients, but there was a question last month. Mr. Collins said he was looking for long-term. I think I just heard him say now short-term, but the question is, how do you define those? How do you tell which is which? How do you enforce that? To me, that's a big question. The ordinance does require screening, and we've put some requests in the handout for what we would see as screening, which I think Mr. Collins has. Oh, do we have 2 more minutes? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Where was I? We do appreciate his working with us. We would ask for a little more than he has agreed to. We also request that before you vote, you look at the question of whether any conditions that you impose at this stage would be still in place after the UDO new zoning districts kick in. We think they would be grandfathered in, but we would like to hear that. I also do want to point out that under the UDO, the proposed zone for this area is MUCC, which would not allow a mobile home park. That a mobile home park is a new defined term in the proposed UDO. It's really only allowed in one district by right. There's 2 other districts it would be allowed in conditionally. So we're having a hard time. I think the legality is hard. I think the neighborhood is concerned about appearances. I think we might be okay if we had no access issues, if there was not going to be traffic issues, if there was not going to be safety issues, and if we knew that there could be adequate screening, if the trees would stay in place for the lifetime of the project, if it's well managed, maybe the visual impact would not be so great, but that's kind of a big if. So we're kind of torn because we know Mr. Collins has already done a lot of work on this. We know it would be a profitable project for him. So we're torn, but that's where we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And were you 2 speaking on behalf of the neighbors that were here?
There were
Okay,
neighbors.
just wanted to make sure. All right. Nobody else needed to speak? Okay, just wanted to make sure that covered everything. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Collins, you can come back up and respond to anything that you heard.
So like Mr. Thompson said, I've been working on this for far longer than I would like to admit. In response to Mr. Thompson, our revised plan now includes a reduction in overall density, an increase in green space, and meaningful improvements to buffering and landscaping all throughout the property. The property is, like she mentioned, at the corner of a signalized intersection. She mentions creating a commercial peninsula. The other 2 properties that lie between ours and the actual cross of the intersection are commercial properties. It's Loveday's Garden Center and Pioneer Market. So directly across the street is all commercial as well. Car lots, car repair facilities, gas station caddy corner. There is an abandoned gas station caddy corner at the light and an abandoned foundation there, just to give you a little bit of context of the area. I've worked extremely hard since the very beginning with the neighbors. Shannon is my only direct residential neighbor that I share a property boundary with. I spent an hour with her on Thursday and then an hour with Bob Thompson and a gentleman named Mark who lives directly across from Love Days, so is between the exit of our property and the intersection. When I explained the vision to Mark, I think he kind of got it, so we moved on. Mr. Thompson has repeatedly come back, and just every little thing I give is just not enough at any given opportunity, I feel like. So at this point, I'm interested and open to any recommendations that the council may have.
Thank you very much. Let's open up the floor for any discussions or questions, and Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for either Bob or I didn't get your name, Miss Nelson. In your remarks, you referred, but I think both of you referred multiple times to the neighborhood. What are you talking about? The neighborhood at like White Creek Road and Cold Stream Road?
The majority of us live in Jonesboro,
Which is
Jonesboro Drive.
Okay, I'm just trying to. Is it? Oh, it's further down Tipton Station.
It's about a third of a mile from
Okay.
there.
Okay, so it's not the neighborhood right next door.
No.
Okay. Okay, so it's further down Tipton
It's
Station.
because those properties are individual ag properties that are right there. They're not really a neighborhood. We are a neighborhood. We have about 26 acres down to 7 acres for each individual lot in that neighborhood.
I see. Okay, and then you referred to sharp S curves on Hendron Chapel and Tipton Station, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong map because both of those come off and they're pretty.
It's at an angle.
Okay,
So
but
it
it's
would
not
be hard.
it's not like a switchback.
No, it's not a switchback. You're correct.
Okay.
They're just hard angles. So that is the clarification. I apologize. It's
Okay.
more of the angles of coming in and having to turn large RVs because it's like a triangle.
Yeah, no.
It's the peninsula there.
Okay, just making sure I'm looking at the same thing. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anybody have any other questions? Commissioner Frazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just some questions about the suggested conditions for development plan. Mr. Thompson, do you want to speak to those? Are these conditions you're suggesting should the body approve the rezoning?
Yes, I would ask for, one of the changes from what Mr. Collins has proposed is the screening that would be directly along Hendron Chapel toward the south. And he's already planted a few little trees there. He was thinking he would do type C screening, whereas to me, for a project like this, I think type A screening is more appropriate. So that would be one difference from what he is proposing. I would also ask that you have a final development plan from him which incorporates these conditions before you vote. And I don't know, I guess that would cause a delay, but I think it's important to have it, very clear and enforceable what we have. Another condition I've suggested, which is, to me, is a hard one that I put in there, is that it would be only for transient use, because that's what the current code allows, is transient use. And I just heard Mr. Collins say that he is looking at short-term use, but if you recall, last month he was talking 3 months or longer, basically indefinite. And so that's been a big hang-up. People do stay in their RVs indefinitely. And so how do you tell whether it's going to be short-term or, to me, that's one of the troubling parts of this. But those are, one of the conditions I put in there was no lighting, no light poles. Mr. Collins said he had already planned on doing that, not having pole lighting, so that's fine. What else? I did put, I did try to give you a map with points A through G where the screening would be placed. I hope that makes sense. I had said no more than 35 slots. I think Mr. Collins now is saying 34. I think he's okay with that. He had mentioned, when we met at the property, he had mentioned putting a berm, a 5-foot berm, which, as I understand it, would have been between points A and B. And I don't know if that's in his plans, but that would certainly help with the visibility issue. And I think that covers a fence along, I already mentioned the fence. I don't think he is committed to, but I think he was open to that. Does that answer?
Yes, and then I also had a question for Director Snowden and Director Brooks. Director Snowden, could you address the access and the safety issues that were brought up? Please,
Sure.
sir.
Yeah, I can. The driveway location now looks like it has pretty good sight distance on it. The one concern that the lady brought up, and I do kind of agree with, is the radius at Chapman Highway at Henry's Chapel is not real conducive for that if someone's going, I guess, southbound. However, in that situation, they could turn off earlier onto Tipton Station, so there'll just have to be some communication with some of those guests, because to her point, it is kind of an island there, and depending on which direction you're coming from, north or south, if you were pulling a trailer, you'd have to be a little cautious about, accessing it from a particular direction, just because the radiuses aren't maybe as good as they could be at those locations. But as far as the direct access to Henry's Chapel, it appears that it would meet our standards, just there's some of those off-site things that they need to be a little watchful of.
And then Director Brooks, the proposed MUCC zoning in the UDO, is the use that's being proposed, is it allowed under that zone?
Say that map is a draft map. It's the first map that we've released, and I expect there'll be additional changes both to the text that's proposed for the new UDO as well as the map itself. One thing we haven't released as well to keep in mind is we haven't released landscaping standards that will be proposed as part of the Unified Development Ordinance, as well as lighting standards.
So would the use that he's proposing be allowed under that MUCC?
I don't believe so, but I'll double check. But that's not something we've been checking because it is we're in the very early stages and it's a draft.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dripp?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions for Mr. Collins. So to Mr. Thompson's point, how would you manage the quote short-term use? Like, what will you have a policy in place? Is there going to be a maximum amount of time?
I'd like to not put a maximum simply because I don't want to kick somebody out of a stable living environment if they're meeting all the community guidelines. With that being said, our ideal customer or client would be a 3 to 6 month stay type of thing. So that's why I say short term, and I think it gets really confused in the transient mobile home park because it is not for overnight stays. If somebody wants an overnight stay for a weekend in Gatlinburg, I'm not the RV park for that person. And I think that's helps limit a lot of the traffic at those signalized intersections. And like he spoke to, everybody will have a welcome packet ahead of time. It's not just showing up at the on-site office and getting a spot. You're gonna have to have a reservation in the whole 9 yards. So, and then just strict community standards. I spoke about it last time, but I live on Rogers, 1 street away from Jonesboro, where they're talking about having their community. I'm very community-centric focused. It's kind of why I want to build something like this, is because it gives me the opportunity to put 34, 35 sites in an area that can never grow higher than 1 trailer. I can't stack them on top of each other. I think that kind of helps the overall impact of the site. We've worked really hard to work with the natural topography and to keep the mature trees. As of this time, I have three mature trees that will be removed. Everything else, I'm working on the land development plan right now, but we have to visually screened, so it's going to cost, somewhere in the realm of $8,000 to $9,000 to put barriers around all the big trees that we want to save before we start pushing dirt and moving, so that we don't damage the roots and stuff. Whereas if I just bulldoze them down, that's additional cost in there. So hopefully that goes to speak to kind of the steps we're taking to be, enhance the community in our area.
Got it. Thank you for that. So I think you answered my next question, which was how many RV slots maximum are you looking to have?
34.
Okay. Would you be amenable, so Mr. Thompson also spoke to you maybe already trying to install a landscape buffer. Is that actually
So we spoke
something on
on
your radar?
Thursday. We've been speaking the whole time pretty much in constant communication, but we spoke as recently as this last Thursday, like he said, and he brought another neighbor. The landscape buffer along my residential neighbor is a type A. That's kind of a no-brainer because it's commercial and residential, 15-foot wide. That gets a 5-foot berm. I mean, they have very specific requirements for those. Along Hendron Chapel, a type C screen was what would typically be required because there is a road between us and the closest residential neighbor. So we discussed that. We've actually already planted the trees just because the time was right, get them growing when they can actually root and grow instead of in the summer here in 2 months. But so we've already planted the first row, and then additional rows will need to be planted behind it, but that'll come at a later date. He saw those when he was on property and we walked it. He spoke about a fence along Hendron Chapel. And I'm not opposed to a fence along Hendron Chapel. That was probably in the works down the road anyways, just for the privacy of our customer sites. So I'm not opposed to that. We talked about the lighting. The only lights that'll be there will be on the actual electrical pedestals for the spots. So they'll be, 30, 36 inches high and down-facing lights. So that shouldn't be any light pollution or anything like that. Like I said, we've spoken a lot. Ms. Nelson is new to the party, so welcome.
All right. And just clarify again where you expect to have access to the park. Will it be from Hendron Chapel or would you attempt Chapman Highway?
Hendron Chapel, from the beginning, when we talked to the NPC, they talked about it being a major arterial road and that we had a signalized intersection right there, and they didn't think that they didn't believe that it would impact majorly the 1,000 feet, and also because we're not an overnight. So when I spoke to Mark, it actually alleviated some of his concern because it's not overnight, so it's not 30 trailers coming and going every weekend. It's hopefully 60 or 70 a year,
Right.
They turn over a couple times a year.
Okay, thank you for that. Director Snowden, just a couple questions for you as well, sir. Do you feel the type C screening is a good fit for this kind of project?
The zoning ordinance codifies when you have commercial adjacent to residential, it's type A screening. So per the zoning ordinance, we would require them to install type A on any boundary that fronts a residential.
So that would be required whether it's a condition or not?
Correct.
Got it. And I know there's been mention of Hendron Chapel and the road itself. Do you see any issues with access from Hendron Chapel into this property?
Not at the current access point. It looks like there may be a cell phone tower there on the parcel too. So as long as they submit a site design that we're comfortable with as far as radiuses for those trailers and things, I don't have a major concern with access at the current location.
So access, a site design must be submitted with the access before he is allowed to install that access.
Correct, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay? Oh, you just sat and undone your thing. Okay. All right, seeing no further questions, I'll turn this over to Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually have a number of questions myself. Mr. Collins, do you already have, do you have an option to sell this to anyone else if you end up, if this gets approved and you buy it from the Coffrans?
Can you clarify what you mean?
Like, have you been in discussion with another party saying, hey, if I get this, I'll sell it to you?
No,
Okay.
no, sir. This
Okay.
is a family. Yeah, this is a legacy project for my family. I don't wish to sell.
Okay, all right. Do you already, have you already made arrangements for who would be developing this if we were to grant your rezoning?
I have been in talks with several people, correct.
Who have you talked with?
I've talked with Land Management in South Knoxville, but I don't think that they'll be the end of the ones doing it. Probably with Superior Site Services out of Sevierville.
Do you have any interest in waiting to see if mixed-use commercial corridor from the UDO would allow this particular use without having this property rezoned?
I would rather not wait. It costs me money every day. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'd rather not.
All right. Are you still, you had mentioned before, and maybe at South Doyle Neighborhood Association, that you were not going to provide mail facilities on site. Is that still true?
No, sir. They will be required to have a P.O. box.
Okay.
I'll take an Amazon package at the on-site office, but as far as actual mailbox, it won't be site-specific mailboxes. No, sir.
Okay. So if people wanted to stay there for a month, they would have to establish a P.O. box with the post office itself?
Make other arrangements.
Okay. Do you envision a minimum stay length?
Okay. Once again, hard to define, right? Somebody would be required to pay for a month to have a spot. If they come and go 3 times in that month, then that's perfectly fine with me. I can't tell them what to do with that spot once they pay for it, obviously. But my minimum would be 1 month. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see. I have heard a little, I would describe it as a change from you as far as the length, because previously it was my understanding that you were going to cap the length of time somebody could reside there, and now you're saying, well, if they like it, they can stay.
Yeah, just like I said, I don't want to, somebody that fits well in the community, I don't think there's any reason to move them along if that's where they want to be and they continue paying for the spot. As long as they're meeting the strict community guideline standards, I don't see a reason to move them along.
Do you have an intent to allow people to put a foundation down?
No permanent. This is not permanent residence, so everything will have to be towable.
In other words,
and well maintained,
everything.
roadworthy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well maintained, roadworthy. So literally, at any given time, can you leave the lot with it within 24, 48 hour notice, whatever it might be.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think I have questions for Mr. Snowden, although my colleagues covered these quite well already. Mr. Snowden, I'm a little concerned, not necessarily, I am concerned about the entrance at West Hendron Chapel, but I'm a little concerned about having increased RV traffic going from that Hendron Chapel or through that Hendron Chapel Tipton Station Road interchange, because that, for unfamiliar people, tend to run through that stop sign, I think. I mean, does that sound like a story you've heard before?
Yeah, it's a little unique right there with the, like the lady was saying, it is kind of wide out there. It's a lot of pavement. So there are people, especially if you're going, I guess, east on Tipton Station, everybody wants to go to the red light. So there is, it's almost like an off ramp there a little bit. It is a little bit of a, unique intersection.
What, I was looking at the Chapman Highway side of it, and I noted in the report, the staff report, that there's a guardrail that interferes, and so TDOT, I guess they don't let go of that, right? They, when they have a guardrail in place, they won't consider disturbing that at all.
They would consider, I think, obviously the guardrail is there to protect the steep slope that, to protect the motorists from running off onto that slope that could be hazardous. One of my concerns, that the turn lane for Hendron's Chapel terminates before there, so there wouldn't really, if you were coming, I guess, north on Chapman Highway, you wouldn't really have a turn lane. There wouldn't be a safe place for you to turn left on, so I think the site development to establish an access there, it could be done, but it would be extremely expensive to achieve that access point for TDOT to allow the removal of that guardrail.
Well, what about, I measured the distance on KGIS. It looks like there's 125 feet, 125 feet between the end of that guardrail and the property line. Now, is that, given that length, that distance, is there a possibility of just working with that particular distance to create a place for people with RVs to turn in?
And you're right, I'm glad you said, I thought that guardrail encompassed their entire frontage, but you're right, there is a area there that is not, that the slope is relatively flat against the roadside. I think the state, and I don't want to speak for the state, but I think the most they would allow would be a right in, right out there. They would not allow full access at that point just because of the proximity to the intersection and the lack of a turn lane there. But they might consider a right in, right out.
A right in and a right out, okay. If I could ask Mr. Thompson or Ms. Nelson a question. If your concerns about traffic on Hinder and Chapel were alleviated, does that make you more open to this rezoning?
Yes, that is more my concern, along with the other things that I think Mr. Collins is already trying to address.
Okay. All right. Mr. Thompson?
Correct. I do want to ask for clarification. I could not hear what Mr. Snowden said about the landscape screening along the road. I don't know if again, I would emphasize it, particularly if we're going with this kind of project, which really does not seem the best place for it. I would urge, again, type A screening along the road, not just type A, not just type C.
Yes. Well, I think what Mr. Snowden said is by regulation, because that property is up against other residential zones, that type A is required. It's
along the road.
I think along the entire boundary with residential properties.
Okay.
Is that correct, Mr. Snowden?
Yeah, Amy and I were looking at it. I know it's along the boundary of residential. I'd want to double check the roadway. Hang on a second.
But I would ask, regardless of the minimum regulatory requirements, that take into account the nature of this project and that type A would be appropriate, as necessary. I mean, even with type A, due to the topography, there's still going to be a lot of visibility. You know, RVs 13 feet high. So again, I would hope you will insist on type A, and I would again ask that that be part of the conditions.
Commissioner, type A is required along the boundary of the residential property that's adjacent to this. There's no requirement in the code specifically for a type A landscaping along the street frontage like Chapman Highway.
Okay. All right. Well, here's, Madam Chair, here's what I envision to accommodate both the concerns of the community. Oh, go ahead.
I've got two commissioners that would like to
Okay.
ask questions. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify one thing that Commissioner Fox said to our planning staff. You had said something to the effect of, why don't you wait until the UDO is over and then you won't have to rezone it, but it's currently zoned agricultural. Won't it stay in an agricultural zoning, and would it, I don't see how that, the UDO is going to change, give them the authority, give them the ability.
I have the answer for you. If you look at the future county land use, the Advanced Knox has that entire tract being, let's see here, CMU.
CMU.
Has it what?
CMU, was that corridor
Okay.
mixed use? Yeah, okay. So I guess I don't know what the zoning is. What, I know related is not going to be a thing, but what would that be? We don't know yet.
That's correct. We do not know yet.
Yeah. That's my only question.
Commissioner Hill?
I'm with you, Commissioner Jackson. And Commissioner Fox, I hear what you're saying too. They're asking CA, correct? Correct. Okay. And it is in the future land use, or it's going to be CMU, assuming.
One is a place type, one is a zone.
Correct. If this shows where I'm trying to stick with what would be appropriate down the road, and I do see that this little piece is sandwiched. I mean, it's clearly got commercial on one side, it's got residential on the other, it's got a major corridor to its back, and I understand what you were asking, though, and help me, Commissioner Fox, you were saying, well, this, if we don't make this change, it will stay ag. So they would still, even once the UDO's passed, they still would have to go through a rezone process, though.
I think, if you're asking me, Commissioner Hill, I think if you look at the future land use, the place type is corridor mixed use. And so this is how I understand it. Commissioner Frazier may know better than me, but that would mean that any agricultural zoning would be not related to the future land use. And so somebody could easily come in and say, hey, this is not related. But that's old terminology. That in the future, I think it's just going to be like the Knox County Growth Plan says this is what it's supposed to be. Is that right, Commissioner Frazier?
I'd let Director Brooks respond to that, because unless you rezone it today, the ag zoning stays with the property. What the zoning recommendation, the zoning district recommendation through the UDO, we don't know yet. We only have proposed zonings. So your place type is the vision for the area.
Right.
Director Brooks, do you want to respond?
I can attempt to. Yes, you're correct. So we don't know yet, because again, we're still working through the process. We're still taking a lot of comments about the text and the map, and we do expect there to be future drafts for the community to consider, and then ultimately it'll be the decision of this body what that code looks like and what that final map looks like. I will point out, Commissioner Frazier had asked the question about where this use would fall in the future code as proposed, and it would fall under lodging recreational vehicle, and that's currently not proposed to be allowed in the mixed-use community corridor zoning district. So again, as I noted a couple different times now, this could all change. So we've really just been trying to work with the code that we have currently in effect to guide our recommendations.
If I may, I have another, Madam Chair, I have another question for Director Brooks.
Yes.
Thank you. Right now, though, if Mr. Collins wanted to, he could say, forget the back part of my property. I'm just going to put what I'm asking for right now in the currently existing CA zoning. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So he could put in 10, 15 slots or something like that right now as the property stands.
I'm not sure how many he could do, but yes, the CA does allow the use that he is proposing currently.
Okay, all right. I'm ready to make a motion, Madam Chair. Well, first, I'm going to make a motion to approve this request, but I have a number of conditions to place upon this rezoning. Number one, a 30-foot type A screen along the western boundary, which already has to exist there, as well as what I would call the northwestern boundary, the line between this tract and the tract to the left of it, or to the west of it. To the west of it as you're driving up Chapman Highway towards downtown. So not Loveday's, but on the other side. And that is to address Mr. Thompson's concern about these other art parks are, they're kind of tucked away. So let's tuck this away. And in fact, I want a type 30-foot, the condition includes a type A 30-foot screen along Chapman Highway itself, except where the applicants can obtain a right-in, right-out access to Chapman Highway, because I think right-in, right-out, that's music to my ears. I propose a condition that no access be allowed through West Hendron Chapel Road. And there be a type A 30-foot screen down on that southern border as well. And then a type A screen extending from the southeast corner of the property along West Hendron Chapel, 180 feet towards Chapman Highway. And basically that's going to secure that from, the people living south of West Hendron Chapel. That will isolate it to some extent from their viewpoint. And what I'm envisioning is that Chapman Highway, there'll be a right-in, right-out along the remainder of the the southern southeastern boundary between this particular tract and Loveday, which you've heard Mr. Collins reference. So we're going to have the 30-foot type A screen that I described around most of the perimeter of the property. No entrance from West Hendron Chapel. Applicants will have to seek permission from TDOT to obtain access to Chapman Highway. Those are my conditions.
I've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Fox. Do I have a second?
Can we go through the conditions again?
Okay. Let's go through the conditions one more time.
Okay. The conditions are that except for the entrance from Chapman Highway, or let's say beginning at the northwestern point of the access to Chapman Highway granted by TDOT, from that point northwest along Chapman Highway, southwest along the border between this project and 8017 Chapman Highway, then southeast to the right-of-way with West Hendron Chapel, then east along the right-of-way with West Hendron Chapel, and then back northeast towards Chapman Highway, 180 feet, they'll have a type A 30-foot screen. In addition, there'll be no access from West Hendron Chapel. Access will have to be acquired
from Chapman Highway itself.
Okay, so we have got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Fox and a second by Commissioner Lee, and then we have a lot of people to speak. So Commissioner Jane?
I think the applicant wants to respond to that before. I have some questions, but do you want to? Yeah, you sort of popped up pretty quick, so I'm just.
Yeah. At this time, we're not willing to go through the TDOT application process. We don't think it makes sense with the current area. People are driving 55 miles an hour on Chapman Highway right there. It is very close to an intersection, like they said, and it just limits our use of the property too much, honestly. So, and increases the cost substantially to come from Chapman Highway. I mean, the 10-dot applications and building turn lanes and all that stuff, we're estimating in the realm of $400,000. And that just, to be perfectly honest, I don't have those funds to do that.
Mr. Snowden, do you have an opinion on the TDOT process? And we have an existing access point already established, but it seems like on a curb, TDOT would not want to add I don't know, you can't speak for the state, but I mean, in this case, do you have an opinion on sort of?
If it's my road, we wouldn't allow full access there. I mean, if this gentleman wanted a new driveway to that location, short of improving what he's talking about, i.e. adding turn lanes and, essentially adding another lane to Chapman Highway at that location, we would require a right in, right out just to mitigate those conflicts.
I'm interested to hear the other commissioner's question. It seems to me the applicant is trying to make virtually every concession possible, but by making that condition as part of the motion, you're all but essentially dooming the entire project, and I just think it's a bit egregious. So I'm not excited about supporting that.
Commissioner Drent?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we know who has the property that fronts Chapman Highway? Is that you, Mr. Collins?
It's the same property. It's a 4-acre parcel. The front 2.13 acres is already zone CA. We're just asking to match that zoning. As Mr. Fox stated earlier, I mean, when we first started this, I was allowed, I think the NPC told me 18 sites on the back CA portion of the property. It made more sense to do, the per site cost obviously goes down if you can do more sites. It made more sense to develop the entire property than to leave it undeveloped in the back portion.
Okay, so the front portion you already own.
Debbie Billings, correct, but yes.
Say that again?
Debbie
Okay.
Billings. But yes, us as a partnership, correct.
As a partnership, okay,
Correct.
because that was going to lead to my next question was
Yeah,
how can
it's
we
400
require you to access Chapman Highway when there's the property in front of this parcel?
As far as I know, it's the same property. For some reason, it's split zoning, which I don't really understand how that can happen when it's the same. It's always been the same property owner. We bought it from somebody who had owned it for decades.
Commissioner Durrett, when I looked at the map with Ms. Brooks, it's from like forever ago where somebody just literally took like a line down Chapman Highway and just sort of they just followed the road 100 feet in to the left, 100 feet to the right and called it commercial. I don't know if there's a way to put that up on the screen, but it cut it right in half.
It's half the property, a little less than half, 1.87 acres as opposed to the 2.17 that is already zone CA.
Is that correct, Ms. Brooks? Sorry, I didn't mean to speak for you, but we were looking at that earlier.
That's, to the best of our knowledge, yes, that is how we ended up with these CAs along the corridors.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hill?
Thank you. I do agree with that being unduly excessive on the entrance nexus to Chapman Highway. I see that as a real deal breaker there. Another thing I wanted to address, though, if I heard you right, Commissioner Fox, is talking about a type A landscaping, basically totally fronting Chapman Highway. And that's, type A is the most extensive, correct? If you look at Chapman Highway, there's nothing around there that, I mean, Chapman Highway is a commercial highway, so I'm thinking that requesting type A landscaping all along that highway there is extremely excessive. And then the type A landscaping from the, down the east side where the other commercial is, if you look at the map, they have already got, they've already got a full tree buffer there, according to the aerial. So to require the type A down that portion would be not only extremely expensive, but redundant, if I'm following you.
May I respond?
Yes, please.
Okay. The tree screen that you're looking at, I think that's actually located on the property next door, so they could cut that down and then there wouldn't really be one. There are some scattered trees along the boundary, on the east boundary. And so you're right, there is a very thick screen on the property, on the adjacent property that may be sufficient, especially during the summer, you know, when the leaves are green. But I would place that, I would hold what I said about having a 180-foot type A screen on that spot. But I'm open to what you're saying about, look, Chapman Highway, this is a kind of a, this is not a scenic highway. So I hear what you're saying on the Chapman Highway itself, and I would be open to removing that particular length of type A screening along Chapman Highway itself.
Thank you.
If that's a friendly amendment, I would accept that friendly amendment.
It was not an amendment, it was just a discussion, part of the discussion.
Okay. Yeah.
At this point, anyway, but thank you.
Commissioner Rawls?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Fox, where exactly on the, I guess that would be west side Chapman Highway, are you proposing that they come in on? Is it by that commercial center? I mean, what are those, turbines? I mean,
It's a cell phone tower.
cell phone tower. Is that where you're proposing where they come in at?
No, it would be on the exact opposite.
The other side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, right past the street, okay. And you guys own both properties, correct?
There's not two properties. It's one
It's
property.
All one property?
Correct. We're next door to, Love Days is a garden center, so we spoke about putting a gate between us. He's excited for the extra customers, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, this was tough. I do like the border. I mean, the border being set with the property. I mean, I do like that because it does protect the resident on the other side, plus, which is required. No, I'm saying I like it because it's required. But I do think coming in on that state TDOT, that would be a hindrance to the project, I believe. Could Herndon be, or that entrance by Herndon, could that be widened to accommodate the turning?
Say that again?
The turn, so if we did not have a buffer where Herndon comes in, Hendron Chapel, and that was widened, that entrance right there.
The plan is to widen the
That-
current intersection, or the current asphalt that's there will get widened to about double the size.
To accommodate the turns.
Correct, so there's no bottleneck at that intersection. We also reworked the road a little bit in order to where there's basically two ways in. There's one way in, but it immediately splits into two separate roads, so it obviously alleviates, just gives somewhere to go always. And then there's one way out that's along that west portion of the property. So, our property boundary with our only real residential neighbor, and then type A screening, and then an actual driveway before there's any improvements that we have. So it's probably in most cases about 40 or 50 foot by the time you're across the driveway for the improvements that we're talking about. The only thing that we've talked about in that section after because type A is trees and then a berm with trees on top, is like community gardens in that area. Give people the opportunity to do that if they were around long enough.
Would that be something you're amenable to, Commissioner?
Well, I'd like to ask, if I may,
Okay.
Commissioner Rawls, I'd like to ask Mr. Collins another question to answer your question. Mr. Collins, have you talked with the Burchells, Melvin and Betty Burchell?
On a consistent basis. Betty actually passed away 10 days ago now, 10 days ago now. She's been on hospice for a while with us. But I speak to Melvin almost every time I'm at the property. He comes over, he's a delight.
Okay.
So
What has he
Melvin,
expressed to
Shannon-
you about the entrance being located where you currently have it?
Correct. We've spoken plans in detail with Melvin and with Shannon.
Has he consented to it?
I haven't flat out asked permission, but he hasn't, given any opposition. And he comes over himself to see me up until this day, and we've been talking about it for a long time, so.
Because, I guess my opposition to having the entrance right there is, that's right across the street from his house. So, if we were, if Chapman Highway is just out completely, then I would want the entrance to be along the eastern boundary of that tract. So it's not right in front of somebody's house. And then I'd want a type A screen extending all the way through there except where the exact entrance is. Does that make sense, Director Snowden?
So you would want the driveway pushed closest to Chapman Highway?
To the eastern boundary of the tract, yeah. Down on Hendrens Chapel.
Yeah, there may be that you're getting into, if you push it that direction, you're getting closer to that horizontal curve.
Right.
And there may be some vegetation that this gentleman doesn't own that may obstruct the line of sight for his vehicles pulling out.
What, Director Snowden, is there like a standard for how wide an entrance needs to be for vehicles like this that are being towed?
Typically, we'd want to see it. It'd be pretty wide. We'd want to look and, put a turning template on it to make sure that the intended vehicle would traverse through it. But I would think somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 feet of opening would suffice for this type of use.
That's much tighter than I thought it would be.
Are you okay for Commissioner Frazier to ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Fox. We had received some correspondence that there was another case referenced that was similar to this, where a condition was placed to put into effect a development plan, where many of these details could be kind of ironed out at that phase. Is that something that both the applicant and the residents would be agreeable to? Because that's where the design standards are really discussed and put into effect.
As far as I'm aware, the CA designation doesn't require a development plan.
Correct, it doesn't, but I'm asking.
I've shown Mr. Thompson what I have, everything I have from the very beginning. We're not, from what I gather, a development plan would be 3D renderings and the whole kind of 9 yards. I haven't paid for any of those services and not planning to. The land development stuff that I have to go through, you know, as far as the engineering and site plans, we've done all that and are working through that, but haven't worked on a development plan, so to speak, I guess, quote
Well,
unquote.
because without that, for me, it's a concern, because the use that you are proposing doesn't align with the use of the potential future zoning district. And so that's where I'm conflicted. Because if we were to allow this use, then by precedent, we would potentially will also be impacting future uses of adjacent properties. And so that's where I'm stuck. I would need the design standards to be very clear on this. So I'm really struggling on this one. I will say to everyone, I'm really struggling on it. I just don't think the proposed use is aligning in character and form at this area.
Do you mind if I say something? Debbie Billings, Knox County. The property was purchased as a whole. The zoning that's on it was just, nobody complained. It was, you know, a place that had been sitting empty for quite a long time. And really, all we're asking is for an acceleration of the adopted comprehensive use plan that's already adopted. The UDO, I really don't feel should be in play, because it's just an initial map. It's not, we're not even close. I mean, they're already pushing that out and pushing it out. So just to simplify it, that's kind of what we're trying to get the old you know, why they split a property in half, we can't explain. And we think it's a friendlier commercial use for that area than other options we could pick. So I just hope you consider that.
All right, seeing no further discussion, I'll send it back to Commissioner Fox.
Did they want to respond for the neighbors?
To the neighbors, do you want to respond?
So one of our major concerns has been the access, as I mentioned. And so it seems contradictory to me that we're zoned commercial, but we can't access what they want to do from Chapman Highway.
I find that to be a cogent point, because it's zoned commercial because of it's adjacent to Chapman Highway. That's why it's zoned commercial. Commissioner Frazier, do you have any friendly amendments that you would like to make? Okay, well, that's my motion is then it's still the same. It's still the same because that's why it's commercial, is because it's next to Chapman Highway. So that's how the property needs to be accessed. And so again,
We've got two more questions.
Okay.
Commissioner Hill?
Commissioner Fox, so your proposal in your motion included access from Chapman Highway, is that correct?
yes, that was a condition. No access through West Hendron Chapel. But I will amend it to say no requirement of a type A screen. So maybe I need to restate this.
Okay, but hold on before you do
Okay,
that, if
all right.
you don't mind. So, Director Snowden, even to require just a right-in, right-out off of Chapman Highway would be a very expensive, relatively speaking.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. You know, if TDOT doesn't require, they may require a deceleration lane. That's something we wouldn't know until, but if TDOT just required a right-in, right-out, there would be some expense, but it would be minor. I mean, it wouldn't be, I mean, they would most likely require him to construct some sort of island to direct traffic to where it's not full access. So there would be an expense, but I wouldn't think it would be absorbent, and I would think in the neighborhood of less than $25,000 or $30,000.
Oh, all right, all right, all right. So, back to your motion. It is the right-in, right-out then on Chapman Highway, and you are willing to remove the Type A along Chapman
That's correct. That's correct.
Highway. I would still encourage you to look at removing the Type A on that eastern boundary too, because it is already in existence on the other property. I'm asking friendly about that one.
Yeah, on that one, for the sake of the properties at 114 and 110 West Hendron Chapel, that's why I would maintain the Type A screen along the eastern border, because there's no guarantee that Love Days will continue to keep that line of trees. And so that's to make sure that the rest of the residences along West Hendron Chapel have a minimal impact.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seeing as how this is, I was confused, and I from the sound of it, several other commissioners were as well, to the nature of this being one property and not two, and the front of the one property being zoned commercial and the backside of it being agriculture. I think that they just drew the short end of the stick, and apparently everybody along the Chapman Highway frontage did with this line. If the property is any far deeper than 100 feet from the right-of-way. So I'm going to offer a substitute motion to approve this rezoning request per Planning Commission's recommendations with the required tree buffer per codes.
And I've got a substitute motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Well, hold on, we gotta.
I went out. Got just a technical issue. Hold on one second. We're having a little technical issue, so. You probably signed everybody out.
Can we take a 5-minute break, Madam Chair, while they're rectifying that?
Yes, we will. We'll be back at 6:45. All right. So we have a substitute motion on the floor by Commissioner Durrett. Do we have a second?
Can you repeat it?
Commissioner Durrett, would you please repeat your substitute?
Yes, my substitute motion is to approve the zoning request per Planning Commission's recommendation, and that is because it is already code that a Type A tree buffer is required.
Okay, so that's, okay. So we have a second, Commissioner Jay. And then, Commissioner Jay, you want to speak?
Can I go back to, in the continued discussion? Is it, and Ms. Brooks, is it worth going back? I'm very confused about how a single piece of land got split in half, with half of it zone commercial, half of it is, and if I'm going down a rabbit hole that you can't speak to, then just tell me and I'll zip it. But I hate, we don't see this often.
Well, if you, we actually see it more often than you think. If you look at our major corridors or transportation corridors, back when they were hand drawing maps, and maybe I don't have a good answer for you, but I think it goes back to when they first created the zoning code. And they're like, this makes sense along these major transportation corridors to put commercial zoning. And so I think that's how they like can't literally hand draw on the map.
So they didn't like take into the account the property boundaries?
necessarily.
They
Sometimes-
just sort of put a line down
Yeah.
the side?
And then over time, people might have parceled off individual properties. Maybe they did it on their own and split zoned it. We don't really know the history of all the properties.
All right, so we got a substitute motion on the floor with a second. Any further discussion, Commissioner Hill?
With the substitute motion on the floor, which is to accept the initial recommendation, am I hearing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. What does that do with the entrance and to this property? Are they allowed the access on Hendron Chapel?
Yes. Correct? Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner J, are you done? Okay. All right, so we will be voting on the substitute motion. If we can open voting, please. I know, I'm thinking. And change your vote. And close the voting. And that passed 6-5. Okay, next item, please.
Thank you.
Item number 7, 3B 26RZ, request of Stephen and Linda Gordon for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential, property located at 509 and 511 Kimberlin Heights Road, parcel ID 124209 in the 9th Commission District.
Thank you, and this is going to be on Zoom.
Madam Chair, I move that this be deferred to next month. Apparently, they're not here.
Oh, we are here. We are here.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay.
just trying to,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I'm here.
If you can give your name and county of residence, please.
Yes, my name is Stephen Gordon. My residence is in Melbourne, Florida, Brevard County. And the property in question is in Knoxville County.
Okay, thank you. There was no one signed up in opposition, no one's here, so Director Brooks?
Planning Commission recommends that County Commission approve the RA low-density residential zone because it's consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon, would you like to speak to your project? Tell us a little bit about it. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, it's not really much of a project. There's our piece of property, 509 and 511. There's two different houses on it. And we just want to rezone it to residential so we can split that property and maybe someday sell one of the houses or both of the houses.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners, do you have any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll turn it over to Commissioner Fox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that this rezoning application be approved because it is consistent with the Knox County Comprehensive Plan and surrounding development.
Thank you. We've got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Fox. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Durrett. Open voting, please. You may change your vote. And voting is closed, and that passed 11-0. Thank you, Mr. Gordon, for being on with us.
All right, thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
We need to go back to number 1, commissioners, please. Can we reread number 1?
Item number 1, 12D25RZ, request of Carla Gorley for rezoning from A agricultural to RA low-density residential property located at 7120 Ball Camp Pike, parcel ID 092048 in the 3rd Commission District.
Thank you. Has Ms. Corley come in? Okay, I do not see her, so I am going to, got one more deferral on this one, so I'm going to defer this until May. Do I have a second? I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner, Commissioner Oster, a second by Commissioner Jackson, and open voting, please. All right, you can change your votes. And voting is closed, and that passed 11-0. Thank you very much. All right, we do not have zoning appeals. We don't have any ordinances, public forum. Okay, nobody is here. Any other business to come before us? I do want to mention that Drew's birthday is coming up, so happy birthday. And, all right, does anybody have anything else? Any other messages? Remember to always let everybody know early vote is going on until April 30th. So get out and vote. And I guess that's it. Do I have a motion to adjourn? I got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson, and a second by Commissioner Fox. All in favor? Voting is open. I'm keeping you on your toes. I'm keeping, Commissioner Hill? Yes. Commissioner J? That passed. Have a good evening, everyone.